Tell you what, that opener is some like line in the sand. Like, where are these horses at?
Yeah.
Type of situation,
Some
you know?
genuine carnage,
Yeah.
I'd say. Yeah.
I think we'll get to Zardozi in the Vinery. There's a lot to unpack there.
There is, yeah.
Especially with the behaviour of one James McDonald, which I wasn't impressed with. But, yeah, and Zardozi and that race shape and what have you. But what was your... I texted this through yesterday to our group chat. I think Pride of Jenni is the best thing to happen to our middle distance and our weight for age ranks in the last, 3 years.
Yeah, I tend to agree. That was a ripper race, all because of her.
And on paper, I feel like on Wednesday, my enthusiasm wasn't quite there because I still had cigar in my mouth.
Yeah, ash mouth.
But I was so keen for that race because, the quality was at the top. Select field, 9 horses. It kind of reminded me of a little bit of a Cox Plate.
Yeah.
Not the same quality because there's no internationals there, but it was fascinating.
It was like an Australia Cup of old, definitely. With the quality that was there and the build-up, it certainly felt like the pinnacle of the Melbourne Autumn Carnival. And it was absolutely terrific. And the good thing is that like Pride of Jenni was absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal. And Cascadian was absolutely phenomenal. So it took a truly run race to bring out that performance from him.
Yep.
But it also took a hell of a ride to get him over the top of Pride of Jenni. So, awesome race. I don't know what it was about Flemington yesterday, but my highlight was the amount of horses that got the Mario Kart star and just came home like freight trains.
Sans Doute.
Probably
the best of them.
Yeah, Mark Twain came home like a freight train. We can talk about more, but like Estrella, she was tough.
Mate, she found it early and she just kept going. She's
serious horse.
Tell you what, and the thing is like, who she remind me of, Estrella? Maybe like early days Espiono, like the brilliance is like, holy shit, this thing could be anything, you know? But it's like she's been doing it at listed grade, you know, in that sprint at Flemington, the start prior. So it's like the form probably, or the quality probably hasn't been there, but she's still putting these fields away by like 2 to 3 lengths.
She's clearly a group class sprinter.
Absolutely.
Clearly. And as a 3-year-old filly, that's exciting. So no, mate, yeah, that was probably the highlights for me. So the Australian Cup highlight for you?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Just and I just feel like the way I kind of like thought the race would unfold kind of happened.
Yeah.
So I didn't think Pride of Jenni would stick on as well as she did, but my God, mate, I'm a big fan of her and just respect everything that the stable's done with her. So Carl Dioro, who's a bit of a sectionals guy.
Right, yeah.
Pride of Jenni clocked the quickest first 1,400 metres of any Australian Cup since the year 2000. The end speed of Saturday's Australian Cup was 99.65. I have no idea what that means. Indicating that Declan Bates once again evenly distributed Pride of Jenni's pace throughout the race. Gallen in defeat. So I think it might be the quickest. No, it's not. 2005 was
Kylie Divas, wasn't it?
Who was?
She's got the track record.
Oh, mate, broke 2 minutes. Hectic.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically one of the best rating Australia Cups that you'd ever hope to see.
And that's what she does.
Yeah. Brings out the best performer.
And we know this about Cascadian over the years, that he needs a truly run race to be at his best because he launches from the back. But the fact that he's still doing it as a 9 or 9-year-old, gelding, yeah, phenomenal. Well found.
Yes.
Hutch. But, I had Pride of Jenni on top and she certainly lost no admirers.
Mate, the thing is like post-race, there was zero talk on Twitter, on racing Twitter about Cascading. None. It was all about Pride of Jenni. And honestly, so it should be.
Yeah.
Like, because you look at, like, we said it in the preview as well. I was really keen on Cascadian and a tissue, but I was less keen on a tissue because you look at that Champions Stakes form, it's no good.
No.
Like the the horses coming out of that, she was clearly the best of those, but she's always kind of versed like the B graders.
Yeah, I think so. And if you have a truly run 2,000 meters and you want a horse to be finishing off brilliantly, that's Cascadian, not a tissue in my eyes. So yeah, well found. And the price that you got for Cascadian was almost double, wasn't it?
Mate, he started $8.50.
Yeah, bang.
Like he was I had a decent bet on him yesterday, which was good. I finally got some back off the good people at Ned's Drifters. But yeah, he was sensational. Pride of Jenni was just as good. Atisha was gallant. Maybe Mr. Brightside's the one.
We were against him.
We were. What did he start? $2.50?
Yeah.
Short.
So Flemington, his record there, you pointed out, nowhere near as good as his career record.
So he starts at what? A winning strike rate there of 25%. Now that will drop again after yesterday. And I think he had a 50%
career. 50% career. Yeah.
Career winning strike rate. But if you're on Mr. Brightside, there is a bit of I'm like, oh, okay. Veterinary information. Mr. Brightside displaying right foreleg soreness. So there was an excuse there for Mr. Brightside.
Yeah, okay.
Now, apparently, there was chat yesterday on Channel 7 that he's apparently going to the Queen Elizabeth.
Mr. Brightside is. Fascinating. I'd love to see him there. I'd love to see Pride of Jenni there.
Yeah, well, actually, that's something I wanted to look up is what is Pride of Jenni's form on wet tracks, because there's a stack of rain forecast over the next week or so in Melbourne, in Sydney rather, which of course there is.
Yeah.
So she's had 9 starts on the soft for 2 wins, 1 second and 2 thirds, and then 2 starts on the heavy for 1 win. So, you know.
Yeah, but when was that from? Was that prior to that fateful night at the Valley? We were there and she started to show her chops.
Yeah, so all right. So let's have a look. Her last run was over the 2,000 metres in the JRA plate at Randwick. So that was a heavy 8 where Dyer Mill beat her by 8 lengths.
Dyer Mill, wow. Do you think if
Choice Huerta?
Do you think if that race was at the Valley or Caulfield, she wins yesterday?
Well, I was thinking this in the car actually. I'm like, she just gets around Flemington so well, doesn't she? At the Valley, like it's never a disadvantage not to be on speed.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Tight turning track.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Cascadian gets around Moonee Valley really well. He's proven that a couple of times, running well, and I think he's run in Cox Plates and All-Star Miles really well there. But Flemington's his track.
Yeah, Flemington's his track.
Like if that race was at Caulfield, there's no way I would have had Cascadian on top.
No.
So,
and the reason why I say that is Pride of Jenni, Cox Plate,
yeah,
via Sistina, Mr. Brightside.
Well, the thing is now is
does Romantic Warrior come back
potentially, and it's like I think the Queen Elizabeth now is like getting up to one of the most interesting races again. Always is each year, but you have the old firm of Zaki and Think It Over. Gonski. And Fangirl's out as well. So our way for age ranks at that middle distance have taken a serious hit. But thank God for Pride of Jenni.
Yeah.
But the thing is as well, is like Via Sistina and the Ram Vet, like they were walking. And then you see Buckaroo was a really nice run, absolutely do nothing in that Tancred. So it's like, how is she going to go at a ferocious speed up
Via Sistina?
Yeah.
Could bring out the best in her.
Exactly. But we don't know.
We don't know. Pride of Jenni going clockwise instead of anti-clockwise.
Well, let me have a look at the stats here because I'm sure there's some stats here. So clockwise, she has raced 3 times for a second. So, but again,
not a big enough.
Again, it's
sample.
like she's not. I feel like you basically have to take her from her last 8 runs or so.
Yeah. So I don't know. If you're Kieran Maher, do you basically say, look, let's go to the Queen Elizabeth and have a crack at the big one, or do we just take her to the Queen of the Turf and beat up on them?
Well, that's the thing. I go like in the Queen of the Turf. It's like who's beating her? Like,
oh look,
it'd be so difficult.
I couldn't like. if we're looking at that race, a Tissue might go there. Zugotcha might go there. I don't think they can beat Pride of Jenni over a mile.
Let me get up the futures market with the good people at Ned's. Let's have a look here. So, what am I looking for? The Queen of the Turf. All right. So, Zugotcha 5s, Lady Laguna 9s, Alentia. Fuck me. $9. A Tissue 11s, Samana 12s, Campionessa 13s, Espiona 15s, like Komochi 15s, Magic Time, Sunshine Paris won't go there. Yeah, like she has. Would you be looking for like a 3-year-old again? Like say a Roll On High or something, but she's not up to the class of that horse yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure yet. But like I think there's a good chance that Zugotcha doesn't run in the Doncaster and goes to the Queen of the Turf instead. And if that's the case, then if Pride of Jenni's not there, she's my pony.
Yeah. Lady Laguna's like hard to knock these days.
Mate, very hard to knock. Almost impossible, I'd say.
It's honestly for her prep, it's been going for about 6 months as well. Full credit to she'd probably be like, Sunshine Paris. She'd probably, I don't know, which is the first number 1 ticket holder at the Annabelle Nation Stable.
It's a great question. I wonder how many subsequent winners have come out of Lady Laguna races. This prep, tracing back from that benchmark 78 or whatever the fuck she started in this prep.
All right,
I think that was 6 months ago.
Okay, let's have a look. So, let's just have a look at from this year, right? So at the Magic Millions meeting, so 2 horses have won, and that was she's had Miss Hellfire and Made to Fit behind her.
Yeah,
then she had the Southern Cross Stakes, which she won as well. Hard to say, Malkovich, who nearly pinched it yesterday.
Oh, I was going to back Malkovich.
Leader bias fence.
Yeah,
I like that. 1 horse out of that. The Millie Fox, so that was Zooey. She ran second to Zugotcha there. Madame Pomeroy, who was frankly stinky the rest of the prep. But 3 horses won out of that. The Canterbury Stakes, which you've won against Think About It, like there's been no subsequent winners yet there, but she nearly won the George Wright at the next start. I don't know. So she's won up to, 1,300. I think she probably won over 1,400, has she? But yeah, this season, 7 runs, 4 wins, 3 seconds.
Shit. Phenomenal. Iron horse, mate.
Yeah.
We need more of them. We need more of you, Lady Laguna.
Yeah.
More Pride of Jenni's.
Yeah. Why couldn't she do this as a 2-year-old?
Yeah, shit.
Had her at 51s in the slipper.
That's right.
She ran like 5th or 6th.
We backed her in her first ever run in Queensland.
Yeah.
She was about 10s.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're better. Do you know what, though? Going back to Annabelle Neesham, I think Sunshine in Paris is her best horse.
Yeah.
I think so. And this isn't a futures preview podcast, drifters, but you're going to listen to it anyway, motherfuckers. So Sunshine in Paris is at a gross price in futures markets for the TJ. Do you know what her race is, though, mate?
What's that?
The all-aged.
Yeah.
1,400 metres.
Oof. Well, she won as a 3-year-old filly.
Surround Stakes.
Yeah, that's her. Yeah.
That's her race, mate.
Tell you what else is at 1,400 metres in the winter?
Should be well placed there.
Mate, that would almost be race of the year. Amelia's Jewel coming over.
Oh,
I wish I win. There's chat about him.
Shit.
Imagine that. Like, you have like the likes of, all right, I've been against this, but throw an AF cabin in there.
Throw AF cabin in there.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Get Stormboy in as a 2-year-old.
Oh.
Shinzo?
Damn. Oh, Shinzo. Where's he at?
I don't know. Get Espiona in?
Yes. Mate, get Espiona. Well, no, she's going, I need to see her at Royal Ascot.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so I don't want to see her in there. But yeah, my goodness.
It's every year. Phenomenal
race, isn't it? All right, so yes, Australia Cup, cascading was sensational as a 9-year-old. There'll definitely be some people going like, oh, but a 9-year-old won it. And it's like, he's a bloody good horse, mate.
He's a good horse. He's been at his best the last 2 years.
Yeah, and he had 1 run in the spring, and it looked like, Cascadian's done. And even his first run, I was like, ugh. But then,
Yeah, I remember you said that, and then I think heading into the All-Star Mile, we sort of said, look, he'll run a good race, and he did.
yeah, like he showed something at his next couple of starts.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah, the All-Star Mile. I was like, okay, that was a Australia Cup trial if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, no, he's a good horse, and look, those fascinated to see what it rates with our guy Dan O'Sullivan.
It'll be high.
It'd have to be because of just the pace that Pride of Jenni was going.
So is Pride of Jenni overtaken Brightside now?
Oh, yeah. I want to see them at the mile one more time before I make that call, but I think so.
I think so.
I
Yeah.
think so.
I think, to be fair to Mr. Brightside and his connections,
Lol.
I think Jenny has beaten up on him at Flemington. That's the thing, is like she's a epic Flemington horse, and a couple of those occasions she did have that leader bias there as well. But and you know what else I said on the preview podcast as well? It's like Mr. Brightside has lost his tactical speed this prep. He has. He did not jump again yesterday.
Yeah.
He's just. I don't think he's going as well as he was in the spring.
I think do you know what, man? I think he's going just as well.
Yeah.
I think he is. But he's just come up against Pride of Jenni, who's beat him up. And yeah, well, apparently didn't pull up super well in that race yesterday, but I think he's going just as well. Because if you look at his spring, he lost to Fangirl. Like, yeah, he nearly won a Cox Plate, but he didn't.
Yeah.
He won something else. I don't know, but I think he's a very consistent horse, Mr. Brightside. But,
Yep.
But you ain't. Not many horses are running down Pride of Jenni at that pace. You ain't.
You're not doing that. So I think the victim's best bet of the day was See What I See, right? 2,000 metre race at Flemington, a benchmark 80. Mate, the Australia Cup on raw figures, they would have beaten that field home by 14.75 lengths.
Shit. That was a fascinating race, the See What I See race. So she tipped by the victim at a firm $2.10. Drifted out to $3. And I called up the victim and I said, what are you fucking doing to me, man? The market, this thing is friendless in the market. Friendless. And she was held up for ages and then finally broke through.
Okay.
Nice little grey horse.
Well, I feel like the drift in Victoria, I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, the smart money's in Sydney.
Oh my God, if they drifted in Sydney, I'm terrified.
Terrified.
So,
but yeah, so that's the Australia Cup. That's the wash-up drifters.
yeah. All right. Now, the Vinery Orchestral. I saw somewhere after the race that J-Mac said he hadn't been so confident in a Group 1 race since Animo, basically, on this girl, Orchestral.
Yeah, I had her on top, but I didn't bet in the race because
$60, mate.
I didn't. She didn't give me $1.60 vibes. Like, she was very good in that Kiwi Derby, but so she's had the grand final there, 4 weeks between runs, comes over to Australia against a pretty smart crop of fillies, going back to 2,000 meters, and I'm just like, you know what, $1.60 is a ridiculous price. Like, yes, she wins, so $1.01 wouldn't have been a ridiculous price, but I didn't understand the price disparity between her and Zardozi,
No.
to be honest, which is why so many people had Zardozi on top, because that's a logical decision to make.
Yeah. Well, yours truly.
Yeah, of course.
I thought, I think Zardozi just, and I'll talk about the race shape in a second as well, but they were walking in that contest. That's why Nash was like, fuck this. Let's get going.
Mate, I don't know if we've established this podcast. I don't know. But drifters, Nash is so hot.
Mate, honestly.
He's so hot.
For a middle distance, he is so good at around that 2,000 meters, Nash, because he has such a set, and he's a granddad these days, I think. Granddad Nash, he's just like, I've seen this trick too many times. I'm going to inject some speed into this, and I think I have the filly to do it, even though she's won one race from about 12 starts. 2 to Levita. Honestly, similar to that that Group 1, was it the Flight that Tropical Squire one?
Tropical Squire, yeah.
Average tempo in there. It's like, you know what? Let's get going, girl.
Let's have a crack.
Yeah.
Because he's looking at Orchestral and Zardoz. You're thinking, if this is a sit and sprint, I ain't beating these two.
Mate, they went 16.8 lengths slower to the 600 metres than the Y mark in the Tulloch.
Yeah.
So, and then they rattled home nearly 10 lengths quicker than them for the last 600 metres, but on overall figures, they were still 7 lengths slower.
Yeah. And again, this is when some of those form pundits are like, oh, look at those final 600 metre sectionals. It's like it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant when they walk.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you make of Orchestral and Zardozi with a Derby next week in mind and also an Oaks? Like, where's your brain at with that?
I think what will scare off the Orchestral connections, I reckon, is how quick the boys went at the same distance. I reckon they'll be like, oh, they might be a bit more battle hardened, and honestly, we never see it happen. It's happened once in this last decade where the fillies have taken on the boys. I would love to see it. That'd be fantastic, especially because I have futures on Zardozi in the Oaks. But like, I think they'll just stick to the easier plan. Why wouldn't you? Orchestral to the Oaks.
Okay, then. So if they're thinking that, will you see a nomination for Zardozi in the Derby and J-Dog Cummins thinking, look, I ain't going to beat Orchestral in the Oaks. Why don't I have a crack at the boys?
I think they showed their intention with their acceptance in the Tancred with Tom Kitten.
Kitty Cat Tom.
I think he's like, I don't think they'll want them to go against each other. So they'll go like, look, if Kitty Cat Tom had won the Rosehill Guineas, then, you know, they wouldn't have this issue. And that you could have seen Zardozi run in the Derby, but mate, honestly, she made a mess of them in the VRC Oaks. I could honestly see the same thing because she was not assisted by that speed.
No, she needs a truly run race,
yeah.
which is what the 1500 metre was.
Yeah,
the previous start. I think Orchestral's probably a little bit more dynamic, but I don't think she's lengths better than Zardozi.
Oh, well, as soon as I saw Orchestral ahead of Zardozi, I'm like, I'm in serious trouble here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's like...
She was a little bit tardy out of the gates, to be honest, Orchestral.
Yeah, but J-Mac just, did what he did. And what were your initial thoughts? And did you see the chat that J-Mac was having to Nash over the line?
I didn't see it. I've heard about it, but what was he having a go at him?
No, it's basically like, oh, yeah, you nearly pulled my pants down. I reckon it's that sort of situation.
Yeah.
But what I didn't like is, like, he's only beaten this horse by 0.8 of a length, right? And the way he was actually like I feel like J-Mac does this a lot. He does this way more than anyone else. Nash will do it if he's like 2 lengths clear, where he's up in the eyes and giving it basically a like big fuck you to the everyone else on course.
Hot Gilf Nash.
Yeah. But J-Mac, he basically does these little poses on the line for the photo finish, but he was basically looking back on the inside. I'm like, mate, you haven't won this by lengths, mate. Like, just chill out.
Yeah. Carry on.
He's the most arrogant jockey in Sydney for sure.
He backs it up, mate.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's
allowed to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, I still like J-Mac, but I was just like, oh, it's unnecessary, mate.
Look, he's the most arrogant, but he's definitely not the hottest.
No. You have to have gilf status to do that. J-Mac.
Hot Nash.
You're just a dilf, mate. So yeah, Orchestral was sensational. Tuta Levita, was given the best chance by Nash, who was just like, you know what?
She's one that, bring her back to Queen of the Turf.
Yeah.
I don't think she's an Oaks type, is she?
Maybe. I don't know.
I guess against your own age, you have a crack, don't you?
Yeah, I'd say so. She's put the writing on the wall at her 2 starts. Oh, her 3 starts, actually. That was her 3rd start this prep.
Yeah.
She was a bit disappointing at the second up start. So, you might see the best of her for the rest of the prep. But yeah, I'm still probably Team Zardozi in the Oaks just because she has the runs on the board, I'd say. Well, so does Orchestral.
Yeah, I my concern with Zardozi again is the pace.
Yeah.
Of the race. So it's a wait and see for me.
Yeah.
But Orchestral, like if she jumps sub $2 again in the Oaks, like
That's the thing.
I can't bet it.
That's the thing, mate. It's like I'm a price guy.
Yeah.
Like if I get
price guy.
if I have like $4 to $5 on offer again for Zardozi, like that's an easy bet for me. And it's like, yeah. So and I was checking my Ned's account yesterday. I'm like, there was a bit more money in there than I was expecting. And I was like, what happened here? And it was for one of my futures bets on Orchestral.
There you go.
Got her at $5. Maybe sixes. Kalapour. This had the writing on the wall, didn't it?
Mate, I was with some workmates at the Breakfast Creek Hotel, fine establishment in Brisbane, drifters, if you're not from here. Having a couple of quiet ones, responsibly whacking a couple of ponies. And I literally turned to one of them and I said, watch a roughie win this race before it jumped. And lo and behold, a roughie won the race.
At $54.95. $54.95, you wouldn't mind?
Shit.
Kalapour. Yeah.
Where did Buckaroo run? Fourth?
Fifth.
Good.
Beaten 1.8.
I wasn't too far away.
Yeah, I was convinced he wouldn't win Buckaroo. Just like put a line straight through him just because of that. I just didn't like the setup for him. Like,
yeah,
I thought he was more 2,000 meters.
Yeah, I was post-impressionist originally, and then I jumped off to jump on Buckaroo. Just because I was looking at the race shape a bit more, I was like, well, post-impressionist last start got a truly run race, whereas I don't think he's going to get that this time. Whereas Buckaroo's coming off a sit and sprint in the Ramvet, and I think he'll get that again here. I just thought it'd be closer. So I was wrong.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, did I have a bet on him? No.
Well, Richo of bald head fame.
Richo of, the most happy-go-lucky man in history fame.
Yeah. Of Richo's Ruffy fame, had Kalapour as his Richo's Ruffy. So
he's good sometimes, isn't he?
I hope he had a shekel there because, mate, he was the vast outsider of the field. And to be fair, like the market was pretty condensed. Like he was $54, and then you had what? You had 5 horses under $10.
So who ran second? Was it More Felons or Ash Run?
More Felons.
And Ash Run.
Sixes. Ash Run sixes ran third.
See, I said Ash Run was my value play in the race, and he was what, $11 or $12 during the week. But yeah, there's no these markets.
Gross.
Dross, aren't they?
Yeah. But yeah, Post Impressionists clearly did not handle the quick backup with Rage, but beaten 6 lengths, not absolutely disgraced. Put a line through it, forget it. Sydney Cup's his grand final. So, and his form over in Europe's been 2,800 metres and further. So he was just, and let's all remember who he beat last week. Manzois, who hasn't won for about 5 years, and the likes of those. So I think, and they'll be the type of opposition, but he'll get a hard fit Salino that day.
I hope your powder's dry, drifters.
Another Will.
Yeah, he's sharp.
He's good.
Sharp horse. You got to remember, drifters, that he was 53 kilos in that race, though.
Yeah,
53 kilos. Going to a Donny. Yes, he gets some more weight relief, but much harder there. What I like about this horse, though, is that he puts himself up on pace and he can absorb pressure and he kicks away. Clearly better than these.
Yeah.
Clearly a group class horse. He's like $2.50, I think, in the Donny now. Like, I'll steer clear of that. Thanks very much.
I think so. So if I go, let me just get this up. I'll find what weight he has in the Doncaster. But yeah, like Bandersnatch won this race last year. Went around to probably like 20-1 in Doncaster. I think he finished about midfield. I think Another Will was a better prospect than him.
Yeah. Another Will, is he by Street Boss? I'm liking the Street Bosses. My guy Mo. Yeah, I think that was a very sharp win.
So
he jumped at $1.45, mate. How's the go?
Yeah,
big go.
Well, he was a bit soft late because Lizzie of Eyes in the Mounting Yard fame. She was basically just going like, "Oh, I don't like how he's paraded. Like he's basically melting there. And they showed footage of Kieran Maher on the blower right before the jump, and he looked real concerned. But apparently he might have a bit of the think about it. Whereas he can play up a little bit. But yeah, another wheel was very impressive. You know, did they run time on the clock? Somewhat. They would have beaten. What am I looking at here? What's that? They would have beaten Valencia and those mares by, or that and those horses by what, 1.5, 2 lengths on raw figures. So yeah, that's fine. So he has, looking at this Doncaster at the moment, they haven't updated the ballot, but he's 50 kilos there. I don't know if he's like, or if he'll get a penalty based on that. Or if he just goes straight to the ballot, I'm not sure. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. No, yeah. I'll be able to give you some live updates with how he's parading in the mounting yard of the Donny next week.
That'd be good, mate. Who else can we talk about? Well, let's go to... why don't we go to Wymark and the Tulloch?
He was good.
He was very good.
He was good. Yeah, on the quick backup, Derby, been up for a while. Is he a rung below like the likes of Riff Rocket and what have you? Not sure yet.
Well, the thing is like he was the source's best bet of the day, especially as soon as like Tannhauser came out. He was the only one the source was actually worried about. But he showed a bit of versatility here as well, like taking a sit on what was, I don't know if like that speed was that farcical in the Vinery or if this speed was like, I'll have to wait for the figures to come out. But I thought he was good, mate, just chasing down these leaders and, you know, not hard on the fence, which was the best ground on the day as well. Mate, the third horse is the one I'm really interested heading towards a Derby in Salt Coats.
Yep.
He was good.
He was good. Yeah, through the line as well. But Wymark, he could just be one who just keeps going up a level. So fascinated to see how he goes in the Derby. And Riff Rocket's the favourite there in early markets. The stable's come out as recently as like 2 weeks ago saying he's not a stayer. So,
but they've also said they'll probably go there.
Yeah, exactly. So,
you know,
is he vulnerable?
You know what I love about them is they're so good. The Wallace stable at this is like, oh yeah, we'll take him to the Derby, but then they throw out an acceptance or a nomination in the Australia Cup anyway. I'm like, just ruining punters like futures selections too. Really love that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, well, it's not like the punters are the lifeblood of the industry.
Yeah, mate. They just, everyone getting hashtag walled. Yeah, so he was good. Mate, Alentia, we have to.
Oh, shit. I just knew it. I knew it. That after saying she has to win this race last week and she doesn't, and then, you know, at a much better price comes out and brains in the next start.
Like it's just...
Do you know who else used to have those silks that was impossible to catch?
Espiona.
No, Invincibella.
Yeah, Invincibella. Yeah, she was, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Really, really tough. She didn't just win this. She absolutely brained him. Now, I saw a lot of carry on by a lot of punters saying that Macarena was extremely unlucky. I'm sorry, but Alentia's just beaten her by 6 lengths. Now, if you were on Macarena, I get it because she's held up behind 100-1 pop, and I think that's what probably she's all class next to her or something. But maybe hinged. But like, yes, held up the entire length of straight, but mate, she's not catching this thing.
No.
So hold your horses.
Has Alentia, what's her record? So has she ever placed? I'm pretty sure she's only won or not finished in the minors.
Well, she ran second first up against Samana.
That's right.
But that's her only one. Good memory.
So
13 starts, 6 wins, 1 second.
You hate to see that, like, or you love to see, but you know what I mean. Like, it's either you get on at the wrong time. Like, you're 50% chance that she's going to win, and you flip the coin, and each time you get it wrong. That's me at least when it comes to Alentia.
Well,
where's she go to now? Queen of the Turf?
Wait for age. Tough. I know. What was that? 1,500 meters probably. Fuck. Like connections separate her and Espiona. Espiona goes to TJ. I'd assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Espiona would be a good bet in the All Age as well, actually.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. Do you take Alentia to a Stradbroke or something?
Phenomenal race for her. Geez, the depth. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's the best race every year.
It is good. I wanted to give myself a bit of an uppercut for jumping off Serpentine because I said...
That was an easy bet, mate. Fuck. Easy bet.
Because I was convinced that he's a better 2,000 metre horse and that the experiment of getting him over 2 mile was done. And I think the writing was on the wall that they were going to do that because they didn't take him to the Tancred, which would have been such an easy option. And then he lines up again at 2,000 metres and I don't back him. What? Huh? What am I thinking?
Yeah, silly. That was nice. That was a nice little collect early in the day for your boy. And then Gringotts in the last was a nice collect for your boy.
Well, yeah, Gringotts in the last was a nice win, and he was the one I was most scared of. But me and the Source were on Hollywood Hero, who's
nice run,
very good run. I feel like there is some runs where you can the flashing light's almost too good, but I feel like this one was good enough where I could go like, okay, I could back this thing again. Mate, he has every right to finish last here, but then gets through, held up a little bit. But yeah, Gringotts just in the clear room. And I had Hollywood Hero each way as well. Oh mate, it was tight. It was very tight. So
definitely one to follow.
Yeah, absolutely zoomed home. So yeah, that was good. Mate, look at him past the post.
Yeah.
God damn it. Yeah, Gringotts was very good as well. And then the only other one that we haven't really touched on is Bandy's boy.
Yeah.
Mate, he's beaten Zugocha home, Bandy's boy. So he's going to the country champs next week.
Yeah, he's got a performance in him, doesn't he?
So he's a pretty decent horse.
Yeah, I'm just glad Malkovich didn't win because I was going to back him.
Well, so we do have some questions which I'm only just remembering now. I think we've kind of answered how will another will fare in the Doncaster. If he has around that 50, 51 kilos, he'll be awfully hard to beat. But,
I'll probably bet around him personally.
Yeah. One Joshy Mack. I don't know who that is. Who's the Prince? He's a god. He texted me last night. He was like, mate, this Prince guy tipped a $27 winner.
Did he?
Yeah. So
he's very good sometimes. The Prince.
As Burden, was Shinzo disappointing or was he really never that good?
Well, the body of work since the slipper would suggest that he's not that good. Do you know what's gross form? That Coolmore form from last year. Look, he wasn't weighted that well in that race. He was first up. I think you give him this prep.
Trials weren't good either.
The trials weren't good. You give him this prep because either way, you're gonna see him race again in the spring, because he's gone well enough, or you're never going to see him race again after this prep. So,
like, that's Bandy's boy beside him in worse ground. Just go straight past him. Like a little bit of weight relief, sure.
He's entitled to go better.
Yeah, and I thought even though she was in like the fast lane on the rail and she flies first up, but Roots was good. That was a nice return.
Yep. Hawaii 5-0, what do you make of him?
I was really against him. So was the market. Like he was what, $3.50, $4 early in the week, and he got out to like $7.
Yeah, something massive.
So
blinkers on first time. Maybe he didn't enjoy that. He was top weight, but just tricky horse to get a gauge of.
I saw on Twitter that there was some chat. Like apparently, it looked like he was limping into the barriers. And it's
really?
Like, yeah. So it's like, why do you start? And it's like, well, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I saw. There's been other instances of that as well. But Bandy's boy, mate, full credit. This is the grade, right? And that's why I was like kind of keen to get those horses that were second up because we've seen Coal Crusher exposed. Like Airman was okay, but he hasn't come back as good. But he's against harder opposition as well. So
yeah. So out of the day, who you taking out of the day across Flemington and Sydney?
Who did I like? I did like Roots a lot.
Yep.
Thought that was a really nice run. Hollywood hero for around that same grade. Like he'll feature in like one of the last races at Randwick or so I feel like he can win one of them.
A real Tamerlane type.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Zardozi towards an Oaks and then towards a Queen Elizabeth. I don't know. Do I want to take Cascadian again? I don't know. Because wet track will suit him too.
Yeah, maybe.
What about
Randwick?
you? Estriella?
Yeah, she's a clear one for me. Where do they take her? I'm not sure, but she'd be hard to beat in a Sangster.
Oh, yeah.
When's the Arrowfield sprint? Is that next week or the week after?
It'd be next week, I'd say. It's typically day 1 or day 2.
Because if it was day 2, then you take her there. No, she's a very smart horse. I've got a really high opinion of her. And mate, that's See What I See. It was a benchmark 80, but if you watch her prep to this point, like she just keeps raising the bar. And she's by See the Stars as well. So that's a European sire, one of the best in the world. And typically they don't get better until they get older. They don't get better until they get out over further. So she's one who maybe coming back in the spring could start contesting those sort of group type races. I've got a high opinion of her.
Yeah. Mark Twain?
Mark Twain. Tipped him on the podcast, didn't back him on the day because I'm an idiot. Yeah, he was good. Sydney Cup, or are they pulling up stumps and heading towards Melbourne Cup?
Not sure.
Because he's in.
Yeah, I think probably just knowing the connections, they'll probably want everything to go right. So it's like if they use the Sydney Cup as a prep run, sure. Like,
yep.
Melbourne Cup's still like the number one.
Yeah.
Nicholas Scala, do we need to pay a little bit more respect to the Kiwi horses that come across the ditch? Orchestral was very well respected. I think he's probably speaking about Mark Twain there to an extent, I'd say.
Sans doute as well, but it's been here for a while. Look, I think the market gets it pretty right with the Kiwi horses. Like the really good, they're really good ones. Their absolute best are up there with our best, right? Yeah. But anything below that, like you can't. I'm happy to take them on most of the time. Look, their stayers are good, and when they've got a really good filly or colt, they bring them over, and the form translates if they're really, really good. So, Legato,
mate, you've been saying it for probably 2 months. She's a miler.
Yeah,
she's not a 2,000 meter horse, and I think that proved. I think that proved yesterday. It's like you needed a 2,000 meter horse there. It's like you don't need a miler that could potentially get 2,000 meters. And it's like, so Mr. Brightside didn't tick that box for me. At 2,000 meters, it's just not a betting proposition to me ever. Atishu did, but she's not of the class of Cascadian. And it's like, and Pride of Jenni, yeah, she'll break their hearts. And
she's a 2,000 meter horse because there's not a lot of horses that'll be able to run her down over 2,000 meters if she goes that quick.
Mate, how about the other old boy, Valiant Declare?
Yeah, because it's a truly run race, and he's bursting for that.
Yeah,
if the Tancred was run at that pace, he could win that.
Yeah. Well, I saw some very humorous discussion on Twitter yesterday, going like, "Gee, that was a good prep run for the Tancred by Valiant Declare." So yeah, I'd say See What I See was good as well. But yeah, Mark Twain was good. But yeah, mate, it should be a good little meeting next week. Linebacker, what do you think of him?
The 2-year-old.
Yeah,
good.
Only second career start. Sat outside the speed, but I think the rail was on a fire early at Rosehill, and then it got a little bit better. But yeah, he was good. Like heading towards the sires, probably still think it's advantage Stormboy and Traffic Warden, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say so. Which that's next week, isn't it? Yeah, hell yeah. Looking forward to that. Stormboy, I want to see him bounce back and with J-Mac on, maybe ridden better. Just a little side Ryan Moore for no reason.
No reason. this is what we'll end on, mate. Josh Buttonshaw. Is Rocky Road the most underrated chocolate of all time? Given it's Easter.
Rocky Road, when done well, is absolutely elite. I think the most underrated chocolate bar of all time is a Timeout.
Timeout?
Timeouts are elite, mate.
Well, timeouts don't exist anymore.
Huh?
Yeah, they're the breakaways by Cadbury. They're rebranded. Timeouts do not exist anymore, mate. They haven't for about 5 years.
You're kidding me. I swear I've had a timeout in the last 5 years. If you're going to have a block of chocolate, like a Cadbury block of chocolate, you know, whatever sizes, what are you getting? Just normal?
What do I get? Don't mind a marble.
Marble's good.
I like the crunchy ones
Crunchy's good too.
Crunchy's good.
I would never buy myself one, but I got gifted a fruit and nut. Fruit and nut's my jam. Chuck it in the freezer. Bang.
Yeah, I'm not a fruit. I don't like sultanas. You know what is my favourite? I reckon a peanut slab Whitakers.
Yeah, good.
They are. Oh.
Any chocolate for me needs to have like a crunch element to it.
Yes, mate.
Yeah.
Yep.
Happy Easter, drifters.
Yeah. Should we have a quick look at futures markets next week?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So Doncaster, another wheel 380. Celestial Legend 5s, Oban Buramai 8s, Southport Tycoon 10s, Linda Man 11s, Think About It 12s, Kovalika 13s, Militarized 13s, Pride of Jenni 15s, Democracy Manifest 17s. We were tipping him at about 26s at our last podcast. Lady Laguna 17s, Zugotcha 17s, and anything else here? Amenable 26s, Tropical Squall 21s, New Energy 26s, Pericles 26s, V8 26s. It's a good market, I feel.
Yeah, I think it's a good market. Celestial Legend and Oban Buramai.
He looks good, but like, what was the Golden Eagle ran on a good track last year?
Can't remember.
Yeah, have to look at it.
But he needs that, doesn't he?
Like typically the Japanese do.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's.
His trainer came out and said that they wanted dry deck.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. And there's a lot of rain forecast this week,
Yeah.
so.
We know who gets through the wet decks, the Greys. So
Yes.
Celestial Legend. I think he's probably, depending on what Zooey does. Like if Zooey's in the race, she'll be my top selection because I'm down there. But Celestial Legend's the one I'm keen on.
Militarized 13s at wet track. Sorry, did I say militarized?
You said militarized.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Democracy Manifest 17s. I think he's come back better than ever. TJ Imperatriz $3. I wish I win 360. Oh, that's short. Sunshine in Paris 6s, Private Eye 9s. Now that is getting to a price where I could entertain him.
Yeah.
Cylinder 13s, nope. Espiona 15s, she needs a dry track. Bella Nipotina at 17s, I could entertain. Osmosis at 17s, absolutely not. Johnny Rocker at 21s. Mate, AF Cabin 26s.
Passive Aggressive 26s. Estriella at 51s. She won't go there.
Nah.
But Sunshine in Paris, like she's $6, right, with the good people at Neds. Like that's a bit gross and short, but mate, she could be my bet in that race.
Yeah.
She was brilliant first up. 1,100 metres, not her jam. Inferior ground. Like if she draws a gate, Imperatriz, she's not as good. She's not going as good as what she was in the spring. Back to that way of running.
Sydney
like
leg, yep.
Yeah, so, I think this could be a race where you take her on. I wish I wins first up.
Well, honestly, mate, AF Cabin, if he gets to his first up form, and I'm just basically putting a line through that last run, and if he gets back on wet ground, which he should, $26 is
a bet.
That's a big price.
It's a bet.
I don't think he starts that on the day, so I might put that up on my profiles in a minute. Australian Derby, Riff Rocket 280s, Ardozi 5s, Orchestral 7s, Tom Kitten 7s. Wymark not nominated, $7, so they'll have to pay the late nomination fee. There you go.
44 grand.
Chill Wolf, $9. Cap Farrar 15s was also good. Immediacy 15s, Salt Coat 17s, interesting. And then you could pretty much have the rest. 10 hours are at 34s, but that'd be a big ask.
Yeah, massive ask.
So I'm assuming they run him midweek. I assume
They got her.
yeah. Which, if he's the right type of horse, it could be the making of him.
It could be, yeah. I'm fascinated that Zardozi's a shorter price in this market than Orchestra, which makes me think that she might be going here, mate.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And if she's in the race, like I reckon she's the filly to beat the boys. But yeah, fascinating. It's gonna be a brilliant day. And then what else is there? The size that we've already sort of touched on.
Yeah.
Traffic Warden 7s.
Is he in 7s now?
What did we tip him at? 26s?
Yeah, 26s.
Uh-huh.
So hopefully one of you listen out there. Fascinating. It's going to be good.
Yep. Can't wait. Championships day 1. Let's go.
All right. We'll see you Wednesday.
See you, Drifters.